Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Firefall Basics walkthrough. Now in the in-game tutorial, they did give you a brief introduction to the printer. They had you craft a couple consumable items, and they had you craft componented jump jets. However, the componented system can be a lot more complicated with more and more base components. So I'm going to go over the printer a little bit more in depth. Before we get to actually crafting anything though, we're going to look at the Research tab. Research is important because it helps you craft better and better items. There are 4 tiers of items. To unlock the tier 1 items, what you have to do is select a frame. We haven't done any work on recon. It costs a little bit of crystite to do research and a little bit of time. Now this time is misleading because let's look at something I have worked on a bit. Takes a lot longer. But anyway, let's start with the recon. Now base level frame will allow you to craft the first stage items. These are a step above basic. They're not really that great. If you find them, if they drop from enemies, feel free to install them, but they're not really worth the resources they cost to craft. But we do have to do the research to get to the higher stages. So let's go. It's an epic printer voice. He's so serious about everything. I'm super ethereal guy.
Manufacturing complete.
So now you can see that once we've crafted the base stage research, each of these items afterwards has to be researched individually. So these are all different abilities that the recon has, including, I believe proximity response is the generic recon. Each frame sort of has a generic item that doesn't really belong to any one frame. I believe that's proximity response on the recon. And Stage 2 takes 2 hours to research, Stage 3 takes 12 hours to research, and I haven't actually gotten that far yet, but I'm told Stage 4 takes like 5 days to research, so make sure you don't need the printer for a while before you do any of that. Moving on, let's go to the Build tab. Now once you've researched your item, you'll be able to build it. Let's go into Battle Frame Equipment. We just researched Recon, so let's open that. The only Recon frame I own is the Accord Recon. However, if you own multiple frames of a certain class, like the Dreadnought, I own the Rhino and the Accord Dreadnought, so you'll get to see both of them under that. So I can craft either a heavy laser machine gun 2 or 1, since I'm researched both of those. However, what I'm going to craft right now, because it's taken a little bit of damage, is I mentioned before, I think, that I like the shotgun. If not, I really prefer the shotgun as a secondary weapon. So we'll go into shared equipment and secondary weapons, shotgun. Shotgun 2. Now what you need to do here is you need these 3 components and you need this much crystite. These 3 crystite, you need all 3 of them. The optional components, you can put stabilizers in here. I'm pretty sure they reduce energy usage at the price of CPU usage, so the item would cost less energy but use more CPU. You can also install structural reinforcements to your crafted gear. These increase the repair pool. One thing they don't tell you in the tutorial, your items have a 1000 durability pool with a 5000 repair pool. This essentially means that your weapon only has 6,000 hit points, and it takes 100 damage every time you die. So crafted components can be quite delicate rather. So the structural reinforcements add to that repair pool, so you can repair it more times. The structural reinforcement, it doesn't say here, but in my experience it's added about 1,000, a little bit more to the repair pool. The second thing you need to do, or rather the first, is if you don't have any of these components, you'll need to craft it. So it looks like I've got the materials to build a blue component right here. Blue, of course, being the third from the top as far as quality. You have your white resources, which are on the bottom, green, then blue, then purple, and then extremely rare, and up until this patch impossible, you have 1,000 quality orange resources, but I'll go over all that a little bit later. Got a little sidetracked there. So we'll put it in here.
Manufacture initiated.
For now, all the components only take 10 seconds to craft. That is, if they ever show up in the printer. There it goes.
Manufacturing complete.
And we'll take that. So now, we get to select the components we want to use. I'm going to create a green one just because I don't really need a blue one right now. I've already got a blue one. But the green one I've got is starting to break. And green resources are a lot easier to get. So, I'm not going to spend all my time running around in blue gear. But that's another question. You can do what you want with the durability. A lot of people like to run around in their top quality gear anyway, and get it broken. You'll also notice I didn't waste a structural reinforcement on a green piece of equipment. That's one thing I don't recommend, is reinforcing your lower quality gear. It's really not worth it with the amount of repair pool that that thing adds. So that's about it on the componented crafting. We'll move on to the refining tab now. Now you can do one of two things with your resources. You can either turn your refined resources into crystite, which I guess if you're really in dire need of crystite you can do. Or you can refine your raw resources. So what I'm gonna do here, just a personal preference, I like to put the highest quantities in the printer first. Got a few things over 1,000 right now.
There's a new Accord recovery contract available. I'm marking the location on SID.
One thing I should also mention is that getting to the point of being able to refine 6 resources at once also requires a little bit of research. The resource refining 1 and 2 don't take very long. I think a total of a little over 3 hours.
I'm detecting dust
Refining
control cell.
3
They may be
takes,
using this as
I
a
believe it was
staging
6
area.
hours, and 4 takes an entire day. I mean, it sounds like a long time to go, but if you look at a lot of real-time strategy games, it's not that long to wait. I've played games where it took over 2 weeks to craft a certain item, and I couldn't do anything while it was crafting, so it sounds ridiculous, but it's really not too bad, especially when you have something else to do in the meantime. Anyway, I've got my 6 resources for refining in here, and I'm going to manufacture them.
Initiated.
One last thing I want to mention real quick is the You can also blend resources of different qualities. So, let's see, I've got a lot of biopolymers. If I wanted to combine, say, this one, and this one, you need at least 3. It would come out with 13,000 quality 600, blending all these 3 together. You can see this one would take quite a hit on quality because it's 674, but these 2 would come up a little bit. So obviously I can't do that right now because I don't have a slot, but definitely if you need a large quantity rather, of a certain quality, of one quality specifically, this is where you can do that without having to do ridiculous amounts of thumping. I cannot talk tonight, I apologize. And the last thing is DNA and technology processing. These are important for creating the crystite hybrid modules, which you saw needed to go
Chosen have set up
into
some kind of energy bomb.
one of the other
Readings are
items
off
I
the
used.
charts.
So you click here, it takes like 10 seconds per build. We really need Hisser DNA right now for a lot of the things that I'm missing. Just a little bit shy there. You can see this takes 50, 25, 10, and 1 for DNA 4. Not entirely sure where you get DNA 4. But anyway, that's about it for the printer. I hope it was comprehensive enough for you guys. That combined with the tutorial, and it should be fairly intuitive, or at least easy to learn. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here, and in the next episode, we will talk about the Battlefront Garage.